Hamnet, brand new movie that just hit theaters during Thanksgiving week. The film is co-written and directed by Chloe Zhao, who's coming off her last two films of Eternals and Nomadland. Also, Steven Spielberg and Sam Mendes serve as producers on this movie. This film is based off the book and stars Jesse Buckley as Agnes and Paul Mescal as Will Shakespeare. In this story, Agnes and Will, we find out their love. We go through their backstory and how they fell in love with each other, the fact that they had three kids to each other. But the idea where Agnes is now taking care of the three kids by herself, and Will's going back and forth between their home and also going to London in order to start building himself as this playwright, as this writer. And while Will goes on a venture to London. One of Agnes's kids, Hamnet, played by Jacoby June, unexpectedly passes away, and that leads to multiple disagreements between Will and Agnes about how they raised their kids. Did Will put his career in front of the family? And how does Agnes respond with all of those things? Emily Watson is also in the movie as Mary, Will's mother, who helps take care of the kids when Will is gone. Noah Jupe plays Hamlet, who is the embodiment of Hamnet in Shakespeare's play, and Joe Alwyn is in the movie as Bartholomew, who is Agnes's brother. The film is 2 hours and 5 minutes long and is PG-13. Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new review here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 400 subscribers by the end of 2025. So it would mean a lot for me, it would mean a lot to me for you guys to subscribe to the channel, excuse me, by the end of 2025. I talk movies, TV shows, award shows, box office, all things entertainment. So any one of those things, this is the channel for you. Also, please comment down below your thoughts on Hamnet. And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. So I was definitely very excited for this movie as someone who covers awards season. Obviously, this is a must watch in this cycle of awards. And Chloe Zhao is a filmmaker who I've been kind of underwhelmed by. I don't get, I wasn't the biggest fan of Nomadland or Eternals. I see her more from a great like cinematography, like her movies look great, but the stories themselves have never really intrigued me. And I'm not the biggest Shakespeare person whatsoever. Didn't really love reading Shakespeare as a kid. Seen movies revolving around either Shakespeare or his novels. So that's where I am coming into this movie. And I honestly do think this is a huge improvement for me from Chloe Zhao than her last couple of entries. This is a really excellent movie that moved me more than I was expecting coming in because, again, I can't relate to Agnes or Shakespeare in this movie because I'm not a parent. I've never, thankfully, knock on wood, I never experience what Agnes and Will um, have to go through losing someone they love so close to them and having to push forward after something like that happens. What each of these characters have to do. I can't relate to any of that, especially Shakespeare, who is obviously one of the most genius people ever, creates such stories that get retold for each generation for hundreds of years. And these are people I'm going into just didn't feel like I would have a hard time connecting to, but I really did have a really powerful connection to the story here. Um, it really invites you into the romance. This movie could have really rushed you into Agnes and Will's relationship, and then Will being, Shakespeare really focusing on him. But this movie does a beautiful job really setting the table for you caring about the family, caring about Agnes and Will's relationship in particular, and understanding both sides of the situation. Because I think the movie could have really distanced itself if it chose a side parent-wise, who was in the wrong, who was in the right with how they dealt with this issue. You could have easily written a movie like that. But this movie doesn't. It just explores two people who they are similar, but at points very different people who live in very different worlds. Where Agnes lives on this farm-like area where she's in the grass a lot and in the trees and all this stuff, and then you have Will who's going to London all the time and doing all these playwrights in front of all of these people. It's two very different worlds, and they handle a lot of the issues in this movie very differently. I thought the movie, instead of choosing one, just let you watch as these two people have to go through this very traumatic thing. Now, what also helps is these are some of the best performances you'll see in a movie all year. Jessie Buckley has been one of my most underrated actresses for like 8, 9 years now. Loved her in things like I'm thinking of Ending Things or Men or The Lost Daughter. Really, a really great actress, but she's always in these movies that are quote unquote weird. She always plays characters that are very much out there, let's just say. And this is one of her not most normal, but just very reserved performances of her career. And it's a beautiful performance because she's the one delivering all of these births. We go through each birth, her relationship, why it's important to have this marriage with Will, and what happened with her being at the scene of this very traumatic event and how that really changed her in her eyes more than Will because Will was not there for this traumatic event. And it's a very moving performance. I think a lot of mothers are going to relate to Jessie Buckley's character. And she's not just the run-of-the-mill woman of these times. She feels like she's not just caring for her husband, but believes that she needs to do things also for herself. And it's a very powerful performance. Paul Mescal is also just fantastic in this movie. He's definitely going to be one of the top actors for decades to come. And he is phenomenal here. He has that charisma that you would want in someone playing Will Shakespeare, but also making Will Shakespeare at times feel like a regular person who's in this marriage. There are points where you kind of forget this is Shakespeare you're watching. Until really the third act of the movie. It could have been anyone who was involved, but once it turned out to be, obviously it's Shakespeare, it honestly helps the movie a lot more. And it's a very authentic take. But again, this movie does not work unless Buckley and Mescal have amazing chemistry, and they do. You root for them, you feel the love they have for each other, and why they need to give each other space at times, and why they need to come together at times. Two just unbelievable performances that will be major threats in award season. The whole ensemble is great. The movie really, of course, takes you in a time machine back to the times, the production design, especially in the third act for a particular major scene. Amazing production design, obviously the costumes. Just a Chloe Zhao. The one thing that she, in my opinion, separates her from a lot of filmmakers more than most is her movies are always gorgeous. Just movies that you could see on a painting. Chloe Zhao just does a beautiful job putting you. If it was Nomadland, Eternals, and this, three totally different movies that should look totally different, but each of them are gorgeous movies, and that's a credit to her. And I think the ending of this movie is extremely powerful. The last 30 minutes are easily the best part of the film. And it makes you reflect, see things through other people's eyes. And from a production design, you're kind of in awe of this whole ending of the movie. It is worth coming to the movie for the last like 30 minutes alone. A very powerful ending to the movie. Now, I think my biggest problem with Chloe Zhao movies is pacing at times. This movie, I understand its tone is to be very slow, but the movie is too slow, especially in the beginning. I think they could have maybe gone to things a little bit quicker in the beginning of the movie. The time it really should have taken that breath was in the halfway point, and it does. But I think the movie could have gone there a little bit quicker, could have chopped like 10, 15 minutes off the movie in the beginning to maybe get us there. And it makes for me, I just don't love the tones completely of her movies. And I also would have liked them focus a little bit more on also the other two kids who are impacted by this traumatic event. And I think there are times they did that, and there are times they wanted to focus more on the adults. But the kids side of it, I also thought was very interesting. Someone I also forgot to mention, sorry, in the pause was Jacoby Jupe, who plays Hamnet. Easily could have been, honestly, the best performance in the entire movie. One of the best child performances I've seen in a movie in a very long time. He's someone also to watch. So I really enjoyed Hamnet. It's a movie that really makes you think. I was so emotionally invested and traumatized as well at what was going on. But the understanding of these two very different people and their perspectives was a fascinating watch. I'm giving Hamnet a 4 out of 5 stars and 83%. What are your thoughts on this movie? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.